All right, guys. Hello. I am doing another video blog post. It seemed to have been successful yesterday. Many of you have DM'd me and commented that you really liked it. The reason I'm doing it is not only because video is an interesting format, but also because I find in these days of Corona that we are addressing the same question over and over and over again, primarily a fairly panicked one. And it's not a legal question. It's what do I do now? And I did address in my blog post the economics of the situation, but the economics and where we're going as a society and as an industry are very different than what you yourself need to do to get through this crisis and what your clients are demanding of you. There are many people who have called me today saying that they have no idea how they're going to make their next mortgage payments. And there's a lack of clarity on that point, particularly given that the government is only starting to grapple with these issues. To that end, today I am pleased to have with me, virtually of course because of Corona, Elan Weintraub from Mortgage Outlet. Elan is someone who I have worked with very closely over the past many years, and his partner Sean Stillman. Both of them are excellent resources in the mortgage area. I generally find that as a real estate professional, the more credible and the more knowledgeable the people with whom you deal, the better your own services are. And Elan is creme de la creme. So I am thrilled to have him with us today to answer some questions as to exactly what is going on. I'll let him talk a bit about himself and where we are. But I'm going to start this off with a question, Elan, which is, what do you say to the people who are calling you and have called you all day who simply cannot make their mortgage payments?
Okay, yeah, it's a bit of a crazy time in the mortgage industry. I have been getting calls about people. There's some news about banks deferring payments and different ways that they're trying to help consumers, both at the bank and lender level, but also at the governmental level. So the first thing I would say is everything is really going to be a case-by-case basis. Again, both at the borrower level and the lender level. Every lender is going to have different policies on what they can and can't do. Some lenders are even providing emergency loans to people. They are extending amortizations so that they can lower monthly payments, and of course deferring mortgage payments. And then at the individual level as well, what is your current need? How severe is it? And can they help you? So let's talk about the individual level first. So when we talk about a case-by-case basis, if you're working and you're still working and you're still earning your salary, most of these policies are really not going to help you. There are some policies some lenders have about maybe refunding some air miles if you weren't able to fly or some other things like that. But realistically, if your income was not disrupted, this isn't really a case of everyone gets free money. This is a case of the banks and the government working together to help people make sure that the economy keeps going, that the banks, survive through this crisis and move forward. So if you're, a salaried person or your, income hasn't been disrupted, probably not going to apply to you. Now, if your income has been disrupted, you're going to want to speak with your lender. They're going to have very specific policies. The lenders are being overwhelmed with volume right now. A lot of them are reducing their branch hours. The call centers, they're spacing people out as they should, so it might take longer to get through. But they are creating programs to help. And again, another key point is they're creating programs to help largely defer mortgage payments, not eliminate mortgage payments. So again, for most people, if not everyone, they're going to be kicking the can. You're going to be accruing interest, and eventually you will need to pay. Now, the other thing is, this is a very, as we all know, a very crazy time right now. Things are changing hourly. What was true yesterday or the day before or the day before that, it's really changing hourly, and everything is just really building on that.
I understand, and I think we all feel that as we kind of deal with our clients. So, Elan, is there going to be a difference in the way insured and non-insured mortgage product is handled? Maybe you can first explain what the difference is between insured and non-insured. Quite a few people have non-insured product. Yes. Will that be treated differently?
So again, this is really that's a bit of a technical question. This is really the banks and the government working together to maintain the, viability of the banks of the Canadian economy and helping people, get out of this basically. So we have a couple things here. We have people that maybe put 5, 10, 15% down, and they had to buy default insurance from one of the three insurers. Genworth, Canada Guarantee, and CMHC is obviously the big one. But then you have people that had 20% down or more, and they didn't need to buy that insurance. But the government is focusing on both of those segments of people. And as a matter of fact, it's actually trying to help renters as well. Now, again, a lot of this is happening at they're still defining what the exact policies are. But at the end of the day, it's designed to help people, whether it's an insured mortgage, uninsured, or even renters, help people make their payments and continue to live as best as they can in these times.
Right, of course. And I'm assuming then that both the residential and commercial markets are going to be affected by government largesse, by government programs in the coming days, that this isn't going to be just exclusively residential. Again, it's perfectly acceptable to say you don't know. They might not have announced, but I'm just curious as to trying to pick your brain here and seeing where things
so I don't know at all. I would say that it's probably not going to be designed for commercial. CMHC's mandate specifically is to help Canadians with home ownership and with housing. It's not to help, people with, especially if it's like commercial, like warehouses and things like that. If it's apartment buildings, that might be a little bit of a different story. So if I had to guess, I don't think they'll be helping commercial mortgages, but again, everything is changing by the day, by the hour.
Elan, when someone comes to you and says, help, I can't pay my mortgage, I'm with, I don't know, let's say Street Capital.
Right.
What do you do in these uncertain times? Like, can you take someone through the process of what it would be like calling you in that panic? Because I know many people are throughout the day, and maybe we can tell them what it would be like actually dealing with a broker in these times.
Well, I would get them to quantify exactly sort of what their cash flow is, how their income has changed, how they can attribute it directly to the coronavirus or something very specific where, my work is closed, I'm not making money. And then the other thing is lenders are probably going to look at your assets as well. So if, for example, you have $200,000 in mutual funds or you've got a lot of wealth, they might work on deferral, which is another point, but they're going to want to see the big picture. This is, again, a program designed to really help Canadians. It's not meant for people to, opportunistically manage cash flow. They will be looking at, your total net worth, your situation, how severe it is, what's in your bank account, do you owe money on your credit cards, what tools do you have available, and then work on it that way. And again, it is on a case-by-case basis and lender-by-lender basis. Some lenders might just say, you know what, your mortgage payment is $1,000 a month. We have a way to, or $4,000 a month. We have a way to change your mortgage payment from $4,000 to $2,000 and help that way. But it is a deferral program. It is an aid program. It's not a like, hey, everyone gets free money and the government is paying my interest program.
Understood. Elan, last question, because I try to keep these under 10 minutes.
Sure.
I know that the 6 banks have announced that there is going to be deferral programs, the types of which you have mentioned.
Yeah.
What about non-major banks? What about Home Trust, Street Capital, and some of the other lenders?
Okay, great question. So a couple things. So first of all, some of the credit unions have also announced that they're kind of joining in this effort. Then you have the mortgage specialty companies. You mentioned Street Capital, but some of the mortgage specialty companies, they actually use a lot of CMHC and Genworth and Canada Guarantee insurance, even when there is 20% down. So CMHC is still highly involved, but at the end of the day, the government is still, remember their mandate, CMHC's mandate, and obviously the federal government, they don't want people evicted from their homes. They don't want renters being tossed off. So they will, help those renters and help those lenders as well. It might be a little bit slower. It might be a little bit, longer until the policies are deployed, but they are coming and they will be coming pretty aggressively, because the government is going to want to overshoot this, not undershoot it.
I understand. So we need to basically keep our eye and our ear to the ground, not the
Yes.
eye to the ground. That will make it fairly dirty, and we're trying to stay clean these days. But I guess your ear to the ground and your eye on the news, so that we can properly figure out where the next steps are. Elan, I would ask when I post this that you put your contact details below, and yourself or any other mortgage broker who's on this channel that wants to contribute to this discussion and help people through what is a very real challenge for themselves personally and for their clients, they're most welcome to contribute, because I frankly think, again, this is the question that is most on people's minds as we proceed through week one of what is very interesting times in real estate. Elan, thank you for joining.
Thank you. Stay safe, everyone.